So I only have you for a little bit more here. I did want to ask you, you mentioned your son Spencer a minute ago, and I'm just wondering, did you have a philosophy in terms of like, hey, if he asks me about my views, I'll tell him, or, you know what I'm saying? Like in terms of as a parent, how do you decide, like, you know, what's the line between showing them how the world works versus indoctrination?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I have a perspective. And so you could say, hey, did I, indoctrinate my son into these beliefs? And again, he has his own mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think I opened his eyes to a lot of stuff that maybe he wouldn't have seen, but for my opening his eyes. But you never know. But he's done a lot of research. In fact, he's read a lot more Austrian economic stuff than I have.
Mm-hmm.
And he listens to far more podcasts. I mean, he's a big fan of yours. He listens to all your podcasts.
He listens
to a lot of podcasts. Yeah. So, I mean, he's really educated himself, and he's way further to me. I mean, he's, anarcho-capitalism, and I argue with him because he thinks we should have no government at all. Where I'll talk about how, it's theft when the government takes money from Peter and gives it to Paul, right? But he says, well, it's theft whenever they take money from Peter, regardless of what they do with it. So he doesn't like the government funding things that are for the common good, like the police department or the fire department or the national defense. So he's gone further than where I am on that political spectrum, right? I don't believe in no government. I believe in limited government. And from an idealistic perspective, I can see some of his points. But I believe from a practical perspective, if that's your philosophy, you're getting nowhere. Right? I mean, you're not going to get people to go from big government to zero government. The most you can do is shrink the government we have rather than try to eliminate it completely. And there's other reasons that I believe that state is not going to be able to exist for long. I think a vacuum is going to get filled and not in the way that a lot of anarchists anticipate. I think the founding fathers had a good idea. I think we would have been better served, again, had we stayed with the Articles and not written the Constitution and let the camel's nose under the tent.
Sure.
But had the Constitution been correctly enforced, we wouldn't be in this problem. But again, they should have realized that over time, the protections that were written into the Constitution would be whittled away. And so the mistake was giving the government the ability to even do that.